Hi, Jeff. How are you?
Hey Alan, how you doing?
Great. Thanks for taking some time out of your busy baking schedule to join us today.
Glad to do it. Glad to do it.
So, Jeff, for those of you that don't know you, basically, we met you through TripSchool. You took some bunch of courses last year, leaving a high pressure job in the advertising world to go and take a high pressure job talking to people on tour, be a tour director.
Exactly. It was like jumping from the frying pan into the fire.
Exactly. So you were new into the industry. You were incredibly sought after at the hiring conferences. You had a full schedule lined up, and then COVID happened.
Yes, yes. I was so excited. I think I got one trip in early and in January. Um, Came back from that, did a couple city trainings with you guys, and was days away from leaving on a weeks long journey with different groups, and it got all shut down.
Who
So
knew? What a great first year this is for you. But as a pivot, we teach you the pivot in Trip School.
that's
To
right.
pivot, you went on and just you had a conversation with me and said, I've always been into baking and I love baking. And since this whole time we've been in lockdown, I think all of us at Trip School, all of our community has been sharing in your basically getting fat looking at your Facebook page because you have been creating some incredible desserts.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's been interesting. I've had my cottage food license for a few years, and it was kind of a hobby, and I did it just for release some creativity that I wasn't having at the office anymore. And getting shut down with COVID and being at home, I had a lot more free time, so I just started to run with it, and it has taken off much better than I ever thought. All by word of mouth. I haven't advertised yet or done anything. So yeah, and it's just, and I'm teaching myself everything I'm doing.
So
So
you didn't go to school for this.
no, no, no,
You're
no.
not a formal pastry chef.
No. I've had no classes, no anything. I watch YouTube videos and I Google things and I just start practicing. And when people order cakes, every cake that I do, I try to do a new technique or something and teach myself another skill. So it's where all those things come from. I just try something different, and if it doesn't work, what you see is the finished product. What you don't see is everything I scraped off.
Well,
It didn't
listen,
work before I got to that finished product.
I've watched YouTube videos, and I'm sorry, there's watching a YouTube video to create something or bake something. I would never come up with what you did. I mean, it's a natural talent. Some of the designs and creativity in your cakes, I mean, that begs to the idea that you had formal training, which I guess you didn't, but that must come from somewhere. Did you bake when you were younger? Have you always baked?
No, no. I've baked and I make cakes for holidays, but I've never like decorated them. They've been very rudimentary, basic cakes. I think it's just my design background. I'm a trained designer, worked in the industry for 30 years, and I paint. I do so. I have I love to create stuff. So like I told somebody one time, the cakes from my canvas now. I don't, with COVID, I haven't been able to go to painting class either. So you know my need to create something out of a bunch of stuff and make it look good is now manifesting in cakes.
So let me ask you this. How are you not filling the entire screen right now with all your rejects? I mean, who eats all those cakes when you started creating them months ago and you were just starting out?
I,
Who
I
eats all those?
I take them to the bar. Every people would love to see me walk into the bar, and so that was just what I would do, and I take it and taste test it, and now the business has grown enough that all the cakes that I make are out the door the minute I make them,
Wow.
and it's amazing. A lot of the ones that I've made, especially some of the unique flavors and things, I've never even tasted. I've
Really?
Yeah, I've decided I want to make them. I want to try them, or a client will request a special order, and I'll make it, and it goes out the door. And other than them saying, "Oh, that was a great cake," or not, or them not even saying anything, I have no idea what they even taste like.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah,
I've lived vicariously, I guess, through your, well, I'm not a big sweet guy, but I love a dessert now and then. But I've lived through basically all your photos on Instagram and your Facebook posts and so forth. And I got to ask about some of the ones that I've seen that are just really amazing. That dreamsicle cake. Where did you get the idea for that?
that I was just Googling one day and I saw a recipe for it, and I thought, oh my God, as a kid, I absolutely loved dreamsicles. I was obsessed with them at a certain point in my life. And the beginning in the spring, I thought, oh, this summer, that'll be a perfect summer cake to make. Well, the summer went by, never even had a chance to make it. So we celebrate Pride here in Atlanta in October, and I got invited to a small gathering. So I thought, I don't care if summer's over, I'm still going to make that dreamsicle cake. So I decided to go ahead and make that, and it was that one I did get to enjoy, and it was I have to say really really good. It brought back a lot of childhood memories. So
Wow, it looked like it. I mean, I'm a chocolate guy, so your chocolate cakes have been my favorite. And I noticed your chocolate drip cake and your chocolate floral cake, all these amazing designs. But your chocolate leaf cake, I mean, how did you make those leaves?
they're molding chocolate. So you buy or candy melts, whatever you want to call them. So I just get different dark chocolate, milk chocolate, white chocolate, melt them down, and then just create shapes out of them. Sometimes I cut the shapes out of foil first, and then brush the chocolate on top of that if I want a very specific shape. But most of the time, I just brush it on parchment paper and get my shape out and throw it in the freezer till it sets up, and there we go. And that particular cake I was doing for a my painting instructor for a friend of hers birthday, and she said, she goes, just wow me with something. So that was one of the ones I wanted to try different techniques on. So that's
Yeah.
where I sort of glommed it all on to that one cake.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I mean, I'm in awe of anyone who can create anything artistic, but to be able to bake it, I mean, I like to cook, but I cannot bake at all. Baking to me is so tedious, and you have to have a lot of patience for that kind of thing, I imagine.
You do. It's more of a science. I mean, I've always loved to cook, and I'll cook themed dinners and host dinner parties and things, and experiment in the kitchen. And I'm one of the type of people who I love to walk into a pantry and just see what I've got and see what I can create for dinner out of the stuff I have there. Baking's a little more of a science. Because if you don't have certain ingredients, there's really not substitutes for baking powder or baking soda, something. So you've got to, get the measurements right, or your cake will be too dense or it'll be too thick, things
Right, right.
won't bake. So it's a little more scientific. And as I've learned, I've converted recipes now into weight measurements rather than cups and teaspoons,
Hmm.
because it's amazing how much difference a cup of flour can be each time you measure it, depending on how you measure, how you scoop it out, if you sift it beforehand. But if you do
Yeah,
it by weight, it's accurate.
right, right. Well, I want to talk to you because we're just kind of catching up on some of our grads and seeing where they are now, if you will, what they're doing, because COVID has really taken our industry has taken a hit with COVID, and but we found that a lot of our graduates have found some interesting ways to keep themselves busy. Some have gone back to old careers, some have started um, new careers, teaching English online or doing things online, and so you just struck me because that was a complete 180 turn from what you took all of our classes last year preparing for this new phase of your life. I guess
Yeah.
we have to add a TripSchool baking class to our repertoire. You could be the instructor on that one for those that want to change their life and become a baker.
Yeah, it's amazing. If you had told me a year ago this is where I would be now, I would have told you you're nuts. So
Well, so there has been some exciting news also from this because your story doesn't stop there. I mean, not only did you pivot into this whole baking thing, but
yeah.
you were noticed on Instagram by someone. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah. Actually, April 15th this year, I'm sitting here and minding my own business, and I get a message through Instagram, and it was from a casting agent, and said they wanted to speak with me about a television show on a major network. And of course, I'm thinking it's one of my friends, because friends are always telling me, "Oh, you should do this," and I'm like, "No, that's not my gig. I don't want to do that." But Rodney, my husband, told me to go ahead, just check it out. We Googled her, and she was real, so I called her, and sure enough, they had seen my pictures of my cakes on Instagram and wanted to know if I was interested in participating in the holiday baking challenge that they were going to be filming that summer. And
Wow.
at first, I explained how much of a novice I was, and somewhat concerned that I wouldn't be able to hang with the big boys, because these are people who are a lot of professionals, trained pastry chefs, or even other home bakers that have a lot more skills, and I was such a novice. But
Right.
after several interviews, just talking to them, I figured I'd go ahead and go for it. So after, the first thing I had to do was do a presentation of two different types of things I baked, and that was to the culinary director of the Food Network and some of the producers, and had to do the whole thing. And after, then it was about 3 months of waiting. to hear. And then I guess late June, early July, I've got the word that I was chosen.
Wow. How many were chosen?
There were 12.
12. And this is for?
The Holiday Baking Challenge on Food Network,
Wow.
which will air. The first episode airs on the 2nd of November at 9 o'clock on Food Network.
That's incredible, Jeff. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you. So happy for you too.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be glued to our screen. We're all gonna be watching, rooting you on. Don't tell us the ending yet. We want to know.
No. Oh no, I'm under contract. I can't tell you that. So
yeah, well, we'll be surprised. We'll watch you to the end and support you. What was it like filming? And how long did it take? What did you have to do?
Well, it's really a unique situation this year because of COVID. So rather than having us in television studios and everything, they sent us out to a resort in Rancho Palo Verdes, California. Ooh. 5-star resort on the cliffs over the ocean. Yeah, it was rough. It was awful. Nice. And we had to be there for 6 days of quarantine before we even started filming. So wow. Yeah, it was nice to get a week of just relaxation at this resort. And then, then it started, and it just, you think you know what you're getting into, you have no clue. It is.
I get stressed out watching contestants on that show. I can imagine what it's like being there. And plus, you're there with people, like you said, that are trained. And I mean, how did you find yourself having to fit in or prove yourself, or was the pressure added?
At the beginning, I felt like I needed to prove myself and all, but everybody there, it's the way the system and everything is set up. You end up being on kind of sort of an even playing field because of the time constraints, and because we all get, if you've seen the shows, everybody gets a certain amount of time to do certain challenges, and there's always twists and turns. And so, yes, skill helps, but some of the times it's just a matter of, we're all winging it at a certain point. So
I was watching an episode of the Halloween version last night, and I see when they give a challenge to someone, I noticed that a lot of them are say, "Oh, I haven't made a red velvet cake yet," or "I haven't done this yet," or "I have this amazing recipe that I've made many times." Do you have to think about that before you go on the show? Do you have to practice, have these things in your back pocket ready to go because at some point you might have to use that? I mean, is there a lot of preparation?
Yeah, they give you nothing to lead you on to what you might be doing. So I just started going through and practicing things and I binge watched all the old shows. Yes. So there were things that I saw that they did over the years that I thought, oh, I've never made a croquembouche before, which is, a tower of cream puffs and all that. I'd never made a cream puff before. So, and pot of choux, the dough to make them. So I learned how to do that. So, I'd never made a macaroon before. So,
So you had to make sure you had that sort of knowledge.
Yeah, because you don't know if you're going to have to. And then, there's certain basic things that, people who go through pastry school or whatever learn how to make, diplomat cream, pastry creams, certain kind of doughs. I just educated myself on that. And I figured if I have the base knowledge of that, I can build something from that. So
wow, that's confidence.
That's kind of how you go, how you approach it. But it kind of gets all thrown out the window because once you get in that environment and the stress of it and all of that, it's a different game.
Nice. So, I have to ask, did any of your TripSchool training help you in this TV appearance, presentation, confidence sort of game?
Well, yeah, I mean, there again, being in front of people, like you said, I've worked in the industry. I've pitched to, in the ad game, clients all the time. And I think, that, trained me for, any of the judging that I got, because that was one of the questions. Oh, can you take criticism? I'm like, I worked in advertising for 33 years. My skin is so thick, it's ridiculous, Mm-hmm. And then also just, the TripSchool training of thinking fast.
Yeah, you've been through TripSchool training. We criticize all the time. So.
Well, that and thinking fast on your feet. I mean, because it's just, things like you said, when you hear, "Hey, bakers, here's your twist."
Yeah.
God knows what's going to happen. And you got to think quick because that clock keeps ticking. And now you've got another element that you've got to deal with. And then that plan you've had put in your head to execute what you were going to do, you've got something else to do now. So.
Well, that sounds like an incredible experience. And Jeff, we couldn't be more happy for you. I mean, we're going to all be there on November 2nd watching you go. So, guys, don't forget, tune in to Food Network on November 2nd, the Holiday Baking Championship. Is that what it's called, Jeff?
Yes, Holiday Baking Championship on Food Network. So
we will be there supporting you and rooting you on. And make sure you keep posting on Instagram and Facebook all those incredible desserts you make and keep us getting through this time of difficulty with your amazing images. So thanks for joining us.
I definitely will. So it's kind of my release, and I love getting feedback from people and what they think. So
definitely. So guys, make sure you follow Papa Bear Bakery. That's your company that you started with this. So Papa Bear Bakery is on Facebook. Also, Jeff Gray's on LinkedIn. Are you under Papa Bear Bakery on Instagram?
Yeah, I'm on Papa Bear Bakery on Instagram, on Facebook, and then I have the website papabearbakery.com.
So guys, make sure you do that. Any YouTube channel?
Not yet. Not yet. That's, my space in my house to set up something like that and bake while filming is a little difficult. So
I'm gonna wait for that before I log on to trying to get my own baking techniques. I'll wait till you teach me a couple things.
There you go.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Jeff, for joining us. We appreciate it, and good luck with all the new endeavors.
Thanks so much, Alan. Have a good one.
Awesome.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right.